if this shelter does happen, you'll have maybe 20 new people, right? Because the other one is supposed to close down, or is it still going to close down?
As far as I know, it's supposed to, the warming shelter, I don't know when that's closing down because it's run by the county. Okay, it's on county property.
Right.
Yeah, but they're trying to get one built somewhere. As far as having it warming 24 hours emergency, basically, mainly to help out the women and children.
Right,
okay.
Right. Well, in March of last year, the city and county entered a memorandum of understanding. As soon as the permanent shelter is operational, the temporary shelter will close and everybody will come over there.
Yeah, it would close down.
So with only 20 new people and at least $4.5–6 million worth of building, what are we doing with the rest of everybody else?
That's what they're working on, or as far as with services and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what that money is going to be allocated to those homeless people. I don't know yet.
Okay. So in services is a big hitting point at this moment. Today, the chief said that they started the hot officer as well as something in Chinatown. Well, what happened today in Chinatown was they took up 3 encampments, and basically that space is to be left vacant the rest of the time. They said they're going to start doing another encampment per day until everybody's gone. So how are we going to connect people with services if people have signed up for services and they're in a tent in Chinatown, but yet they're still told they have to leave?
A lot of the people, what they do is they get information, the cards, things like that, to where they can get the services.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
As far as when they move them out, they're not.
Right. Well, if the solution is sign up for services and you'll be placed with services and housing, in the meantime of that, if they've already got that green card that says I've signed up for services, how do we help those people instead of turning them out?
What do you mean, help them get services?
Well, yeah, the system is taking its time, right? Everybody's in a line, everybody's waiting, and they're waiting, and then the police say, well, you can't be here, and they say, but I signed up for services, what else am I supposed to do so that I can be left in peace?
He's sitting there. That's why we're trying to work with the service providers to give some place where people can go.
Right. Well, with Martin versus Boise, there is a thing about public space. You can't ticket people for public space. And what I'm urging you as a council member is maybe try to bring forth a new policy where we do have sanctioned encampments, sanctuary camps. You could look at models like Hope Village in San Jose. They have trash area, restroom area, pantry area. Everybody has their own space. It's almost like tiny homes type of situation, right. Which is budget. I'm not even worried about budget. I'm just worried about a piece of property that they can call an address because people need a permanent address. Mm-hmm. How do we separate the harmless from the homeless? Because obviously there's plenty of people that we worry about. But the people that we say we want to help, how do we follow through with that?
As far as just contacting electeds and getting policy pushed forward.
Okay.
On that. I mean, that's the best way, because like what you're talking about in San Jose, if it works and, it's not to the point to where it's actually helping people out, then, it's something that we can look at. Okay. And, I guess, can you follow up with the police department? I'll send you an email of the video of today. And you can see what policy is happening. And if you turn everybody out from Chinatown, where do you think they're going to go if we don't have a catch for them to go? It's like exploding a bomb. They're going to go everywhere.
Yeah, right. Well, and if you notice, the last few years, they put a fence around every vacant lot, which forced them onto the sidewalk. And then they say you can't do that either. Are we setting people up for failure? That has to be a question. Is the system actually working, or is the system failing us? And are we misspending so much money to make the system fail?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. If it's a systematic thing to the point to where, we're trying to make it harder to, be homeless, that's not what we're trying to do. I know the city's policies and things like that nature, like the anti-camping thing, I think that got overturned.
Yes, so 7 to 7, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
And people are supposed to be connected with services.
Yeah, and a lot of the services that a lot of the people need, you know, like I said, I've told people this before, the county is going to have to take the lead on a lot of this. So a lot of the things, as far as the money goes, I think a lot of that $12.5 million is going to go for services.
Okay. If you're interested, do some research on the city ordinance, 771. I think it was February last year they put it in. And I think in the policies and procedures, they're supposed to sign people up for services before they evict them, and they never do.
Okay.
You know, so if they do a posting, they come immediately, the 3 days later, and excavate. But in there, we're missing step 2, which is connect them with services.
Okay.
So, you know, it would behoove you as a council member to say, we need to follow our laws, you know, and what's going on with this? How can we make sure that we're not putting ourselves in a liability situation? Because there are lawsuits proven, you know, and the city doesn't need to lose money, the city just needs to behave better. You know, I mean, are we discriminating against them? Because the thing that trips me out is those 3 encampments had a couple people apiece in them, right? And so now they're homeless, right? Because they can't go back to that spot and they lost all their stuff. They still need to exist, right? So that's the system point that we need another direction with.
Okay.
So I appreciate you thinking about that.
All right. Thanks, Wes.
Right on.